absolutely not going to FUD us out, and this is why. Ripple is expanding its payment solution into Australia through its major partner Tranglo. Tranglo and Easy Remit will utilize the on-demand liquidity XRP to foster the payment push. Now, I make these videos. The haters, the trolls pull up in the comments. Shake my head, RippleNet. No, this is not Ripple. This is not RippleNet. Right? This is RippleNet clients that are using XRP on-demand liquidity as well. And they directly mention it in this press release. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. And Ripple tells us in the Q4 market report from 2022 that 60% of the transactions on RippleNet in 2022 were on XRP on-demand liquidity. Furthermore, what's taking the traditional banks hundreds of years, getting completely left behind by Ripple, Ripple is doing it in just 6 months. Another clip from Brad Garlinghouse. This one shared to me by 24 Hours Crypto. BG spitting facts. Quote, in 6 months, we launched a product and made it as efficient as what they optimized for 100 years. Ripple quickly passing up the old guard. Ripple approaching the old guard, giving them an opportunity to come on board, giving them a chance at that escrow. 15 executives from JP Morgan coming to meet at Ripple's offices right before Ripple tucked it $50 billion worth of XRP into that escrow account. Well over $50 billion, actually. But listen to Brad explain this. It's so simple, folks. So simple.
Yeah, you make the theoretical case well. However, the CEO of Western Union told one of my Fortune colleagues last week that they've dabbled in this stuff and they're not sure. They take it or leave it. No advantage. What do you have a rebuttal to that?
Yeah, I think it's, well, my first thought is Western Union's been around 100 years. And so the way I think about this is they've been around 100 years. They have spent 100 years optimizing their treasury operations. In 6 months, we launched a product and made it as efficient as what they have optimized for 100 years. So on one hand, I would say, yeah, Western Union has spent a lot of money to optimize their treasury. I think if on V1, actually kind of V.9, because they were using a beta pilot on this, for us to match what they have optimized and they spend a lot of money on is a pretty good start.
With ease, passing up the old guard, going to the table, having a real deal to present. And I promise you, I mean, I guess it's just speculation, right? You guys can come up with your own story. Imagine thinking that they haven't already signed deals to use XRP with the over 20 central banks that they are now talking with. Now, we've heard reports in the past of it actually being over 50 central banks, that they've had conversations with over 50 central banks. We've heard 80 before, but we have an update right now of over 20 countries, CBDC plans, according to Brooks and Twistle. This one here shared by Kitco. Okay, let's take a look. During a recent interview with Brooks and Twistle, Senior Vice President of Customer Success and Managing Director of APAC and MENA at Ripple, the executive revealed that Ripple is currently in talks with more than 20 central banks regarding the development of central bank digital currency. While large countries like China and US have focused on developing a CBDC via the public sector, smaller countries with fewer resources are optimizing to utilize the services of companies like Ripple to design a CBDC that aligns with their needs. No two situations, no two central banks, no two countries are the same. There are 200 plus countries out there. There are a lot of central banks and they have different needs and there are different parts of this journey, and Twistle said. So we are in dialogue with not 10, not 20, but a bunch more central banks around the world on these discussions. We've announced projects with Bhutan and Palau and others to come. And I think that just shows you that this really resonates now. And Twistle went on to note that being able to collaborate directly with governments and regulators is invaluable, saying that in most parts of the world, discussions about crypto and blockchain have been welcome as opposed to the United States, where Ripple is being sued by the SEC for the sale of unregistered securities. Regulators welcome that interaction here in Singapore, up in Tokyo, in Switzerland, in the UK. We're part of that dialogue. You are on panels, you're in rooms with regulators talking about what we're seeing, what we're learning, and it's a two-way process, and Twistle said. It's really on us as an industry to prove utility and why crypto matters, why blockchain matters, and what it can do for countries, for citizens, for businesses, for big world problems. And if we can prove that case and make that case in a strong way, then regulators will follow and come along. The US risks falling behind further in the CBDC race due to its oppositional stance to the crypto industry, he warned, which will only serve to push projects and companies to more welcoming jurisdictions. The decision in the Ripple vs. SEC case is likely to become a landmark ruling that will not only have an impact on Ripple and XRP users, but on the crypto industry as a whole. It's about the entire industry and it's about innovation in the United States, Entwistle said. We have done all we can on our side. We've made our best case. It is now with the judge, and we hope and expect that in the first half of 2023, there would be some resolution. For now, the company is focused on building and innovating. They will deal with the outcome of the SEC case when it is known, and Twistle suggested that this was the best path forward, especially in an environment where capital is drying up and companies are struggling to stay afloat. You've only got the ability to go after a couple things that really matter. This is not a time to chase bright, shiny things all over the world in the hope that some of them play out, he said. What firms need to be asking themselves at this time is, where can you add value and make a difference? Ripple is focused on assisting emerging countries with their CBDC development in an effort to help reduce the number of unbanked people in the world, Entwistle said. In Southeast Asia alone, there are 290 million people without banking services, a figure that is larger than the population of Indonesia. We think about that opportunity for us not in small subregions, but as a global opportunity. And it's not just individuals that stand to benefit, he added, as small businesses in underbanked regions will also reap the rewards of being able to easily move capital between offices or across borders and having a clientele that can pay via official channels. So there's lots of room to run, but we have to continue to be mission driven on that front, because when you are, it keeps you honest with policymakers. When asked about competition in the cross-border payment space, Entwistle explained that the cross-border flow of value is one of the great unsolved financial problems or puzzles in the world, and solving it requires a global network. The Ripple executive stressed, above all, that crypto is not going away, so it makes sense for governments around the world to work with the industry to develop clear regulations and determine the best way to integrate CBDCs into the global economy. I am your host, Zach Rector. I really appreciate all of the love and support. If you want to support the channel, just remember that you can start by smashing that thumbs up for me, sharing this content far and wide, and everything else is at my website.